Have you ever wondered what it would be like to stand at the base of a living creature larger than you can imagine? A giant pillar, reaching as high as the stars, has witnessed the fall of the Roman Empire, the renaissance of mankind, and still exists today. It is not a myth, not a fairy tale, but the truth. The greatest giant trees on Earth, green milestones recording thousands of years of history. 1. General Sherman, the greatest giant on the planet. If there is one tree that can make all of humanity look up in awe, it is the General Sherman, the giant sequoia, recorded as the largest tree in the world by volume. It is located in Sequoia National Park, California, like a living pillar standing tall in the heart of the earth. The General Sherman stands 270 feet tall, with a trunk diameter of more than 35 feet and a total volume of 1,047 cubic meters. The number is beyond imagination. The trunk alone is larger than many tall buildings built by humans. It is not the tallest or the oldest, but it is certainly the greatest in terms of mass and vitality. What makes Sherman even more amazing is its age, more than 2,200 years. When the Roman Empire was not yet in full bloom, Sherman was already taking root. When humanity entered the Renaissance, Sherman was still standing there, quietly breathing and rising. It has witnessed generations of people being born, growing up, and disappearing, and it itself has endured the test of time. At the base of Sherman, you feel incredibly small. The massive branches reach out like the arms of a giant, the bark thick with layers of resistance to fire, disease, and the wounds of time. Even when lightning strikes a large branch, Sherman continues to grow, still rising as if nothing can bring it down. Sherman is not just a tree, it is a living monument, a testament to what nature can create beyond human imagination. Visitors come here not just to take pictures, but to experience a special feeling, the sacred silence of standing in front of a living creature that has existed for millennia. In that giant shadow, we realize a simple truth. Humans are just a fleeting moment in the history of the planet, while nature, in the form of General Sherman, is the eternal memory. And perhaps, when looking at Sherman, we should learn to be humble, grateful, and preserve the blue planet, so that these silent giants can continue to stand there, telling the story of the Earth to future generations. 2. Dragon blood tree in Socotra. Red sap drops like legend. In the middle of the Indian Ocean, the island of Socotra appears like a different world, separated from the rest of the Earth. Here, there is a strange tree that surprises both scientists and tourists, the dragon blood tree. The tree trunks stretch straight, and the leaves spread out like a giant umbrella, shading a large area of land under the scorching sun of the sea desert. From a distance, the dragon blood trees look like giant mushrooms growing in the middle of the arid land, creating a mysterious scene like in a fantasy movie. But what makes the tree legendary is its sap. When cut or injured, a red sap flows from its trunk, like blood. The natives call it dragon's blood. For thousands of years, this sap has been used as medicine, dye, and even in mystical rituals. The ancients believed that dragon's blood had healing and protective powers, a gift from the gods. The dragon's blood tree is not only a source of life, but also a symbol of faith and legend. The people of Socotra Island regard them as guardians, associated with oral stories passed down from generation to generation. And the miracle is that while many other plants can hardly survive in this harsh land, the dragon's blood tree stands tall and green as an affirmation that life always finds a way to survive. When the sun sets, the sunset dyes the sky red, The dragon blood tree canopies cast shadows on the barren ground, blending with the red color of the tree sap to create a magical picture. At that moment, you will clearly see that nature is not only a place for life, but also a mysterious treasure, where each tree can become a story, a living legend. 3. Baobab, Africa's vase of life. If sequoias are tall pillars challenging the sky, then in remote Africa, baobabs choose a different way of existence, expanding their bodies like giant vases, containing life in the driest place on the planet. There are baobab trees that have lived up to 1,500 years. Their trunks swell, sometimes so wide that dozens of people cannot hug them, and they contain thousands of liters of water inside. Thanks to that, in the dry season when the sun is scorching, the baobab still stands tall and green, and thanks to that, people, animals, and even migratory birds find life. The natives call it the tree of life, because each leaf, each fruit, each bark is useful. The leaves are used as vegetables, the bark is used as vines, the fruit is used as medicine and food. However, baobabs are not only a source of life, but also a witness to history. In the 18th and 19th centuries, hollow trunks were used as prisons, holding unfortunate people in cold darkness. Therefore, each baobab tree carries within it both a strong vitality and the pain of a harsh period. Standing before a baobab is like seeing a combination of strength and memory. The branches stretch out like strange arms, seemingly upside down, making it one of nature's strangest shapes. And when the sun sets, the giant trunk becomes a black silhouette against the red sky, a statue that time cannot destroy. Baobab reminds us that even in the harshest places, life finds a way to survive, to nurture, to leave its mark on the earth. It is proof that nature not only gives life, but also tells sad stories, as if to remind people of humility. 4. Sequoia, pillars of the earth. There is a moment when you look up and the sky seems to be obscured by giant trees, taller than the Statue of Liberty, and you feel your own smallness. That moment is when you stand under the shade of a sequoia, a giant tree of California. These trees have lived for over 2,000 years, witnessed the fall of the Roman Empire, heard the bells of the European Renaissance, and still stand tall like pillars of eternity. Their thick bark, filled with tannins, protects them from fire. And paradoxically, the fire is also their ally, paving the way for the sequoia seeds to germinate and begin a new cycle. Standing under the sequoia is like entering a sacred temple where nature speaks in silence. Time slows down here, and you realize that life is not a race, but a journey of endurance. The rings piled up in the tree's trunk are pages of history, telling of storms, droughts, forest fires, but also of the endless possibility of regeneration. Sequoias are more than just trees. They are symbols of longevity, of unyielding strength, reminding people that there are things beyond all limits, and only patience can bring us to eternity. 5. Tane Mahuta, the forest god of New Zealand. In the Waipua forest in northern New Zealand, where thin mists hang in the trees, there lives a giant who has been around for more than 2,000 years. The Maori call him Tane Mahuta, Lord of the Forest, after the mythical god who created humans and brought light into the world. Tane Mahuta is a kauri tree and is considered the largest kauri tree in existence. The trunk is nearly 52 meters high, with a circumference of nearly 14 meters at the base, straight and sturdy like an immovable wall. The green canopy stretches out, catching the sunlight, forming a giant dome that shelters the entire forest below. When you stand at the base, you feel like you are standing in an ancient temple. where time stands still with every breath. Maori believe that Tane Mahuta is not just a tree, but the embodiment of a deity, the one who split the sky and the earth so that light could enter the world. Therefore, every time you enter Waipua Forest, you are advised to remain silent as a way of showing respect to the forest spirit that resides there. Ancient rituals are still performed under its canopy, with prayers that the forest will continue to nourish people, as it has done for thousands of years. Tane Mahuta is not only a Maori spirit, but also a global symbol of longevity and ecological balance. Millions of tons of carbon are stored in this giant tree, acting as a shield against climate change. Countless species of birds, insects, and tiny plants depend on it to form a rich web of life. Standing before Tane Mahuta, you will clearly feel that nature is not only a resource, but also a memory, a living myth. He is not just a giant tree, but a bridge between humans and the universe, reminding us of respect, humility, and gratitude towards Mother Earth. And when the late afternoon sunlight filters through the leaves, dyeing the mighty tree a golden yellow, you will understand why the Maori call him the god of the forest. For there is no longer a boundary between the natural and the sacred, only the immortality of life, standing silently in the heart of the earth. 6. Tule Tree, the giant with the thickest trunk in the world. In the town of Santa Maria del Tule, Oaxaca, Mexico, there is a living giant that has become a legend. El Árbol del Tule, or simply the Tule Tree. If General Sherman is known for his enormous size, Centurion stands out for his towering height. Then Tule astounds the world with the thickest trunk ever recorded by humans. The Tule Tree is about 35 meters tall, but its trunk circumference reaches nearly 58 meters, an unbelievable number. The giant tree no longer looks like a normal tree trunk, but like a wooden temple standing proudly in the middle of the town square. Its lush green canopy spreads out like a giant umbrella, providing shade for the entire surrounding community. The Tule Tree is estimated to be over 1,400 years old, perhaps even older. That means that while the Mayan civilization was still echoing on the pyramid steps, the Tule took root, grew, and continued to stand for millennia. If you look closely at its rough bark, you will see strange shapes, human faces, animal shapes, as if time has carved mysterious reliefs into it, telling the story of the world. In indigenous culture, Tule is not only a living creature, but also a deity. The Zapotec people believe that it carries sacred energy, giving people peace and connecting the earth with the sky. Festivals and singing sessions still take place under its shadow, as a way of expressing gratitude to the giant who has protected them for generations. Today, visitors from all over flock to Oaxaca to see the Tule Tree for themselves. When they lay their hands on its rough bark, many say they feel as if they are touching history, living history, standing there for millennia and still breathing. And when the sun sets, the sunlight dyes the giant tree's trunk golden, you will understand why Tule is not just a tree, but a symbol of eternity. It reminds us that no matter how many cities humans build, how many pages of history they write, it is only a fleeting moment. While nature, in the form of a silent giant like Tule, will still stand there, silently telling the story of this planet for all eternity. 7. Douglas Fir, the silent giant of the western forests. In the Pacific Mountains, from British Columbia in Canada to California in the United States, there is a tree that has become legendary, the Douglas Fir. It is not the tallest tree, nor the largest trunk, but it is one of the most powerful plants that has ever existed on Earth, ecologically, historically, and culturally. Douglas fir can grow up to 100 meters tall, with trunks up to 5 to 6 meters in diameter and live for more than 1,000 years. The ancient trees in virgin forests like Cathedral Grove on Vancouver Island have stood firm for centuries, defying storms, fires, and the great changes of mankind. Looking up at the canopy reaching up to the clouds, you can feel your insignificance before the enduring power of nature. This tree has sustained an entire civilization. Since the 19th century, Douglas fir has been used to build ships, docks, and homes, and has become a mainstay of the North American lumber industry. Its hardness, strength, and durability mean that many great structures still stand today. But above all, Douglas fir remains a symbol of the wilderness, where uncut trees continue to stand tall, reminding us of a time when old-growth forests covered this land. In indigenous cultures, the Douglas fir is considered sacred. It is said that its conical cones once sheltered small animals from fires, and that each Douglas fir needle still bears the image of a mouse hiding within it. This story has been passed down from generation to generation, a testament to the connection between the tree and all life. Today, standing in the middle of an ancient Douglas fir forest, you will hear the wind rustling through the leaves like a 1,000-year-old whisper. The straight trunks, stretching endlessly, like hundreds of giant spears pointing to the sky, remind you that nature always aspires to reach for the light. Douglas fir teaches us something simple yet profound. True strength lies not in height or size alone, but in the ability to nurture a land, a community, and become a living memory of history. Standing before Douglas fir, people understand that longevity does not come from noise, but from quiet perseverance, like these giants of the western forest. 8. Monkey pod, the giant green umbrella of the tropics. In tropical lands from Central America to Southeast Asia, there is a tree that makes anyone who sees it look up in wonder. The monkey pod, also known as the rain tree or giant bran tree. It is not the tallest tree, nor the longest lived, but it possesses one characteristic that makes it monkey pod can grow 25 to 30 meters tall. But what is truly impressive is its canopy. The canopy can reach over 40 meters in diameter, creating a giant circle of green. From a distance, the tree looks like a green cloud descending to the ground, shading an entire square or field. On hot sunny days under this canopy, the air is calmer, the land is cooler, and people. Another amazing thing is that the small leaves of monkey pod have the ability to sleep. During the day, they spread out to welcome the light. But when night falls or when it rains, the leaves immediately fold up, closing themselves like a folding fan. That is why this plant is also called the rain tree. When it rains, you will see millions of leaves closing together, letting the raindrops pass through and fall to the ground like a... In many cultures, the monkey pod is a symbol of community cohesion. In many Asian and Latin American villages, people monkey pod also has great ecological value. Its broad foliage helps prevent erosion and keeps the soil moist. Its flowers, small but sweet-smelling, attract bees and butterflies, while its fruit provides food for animals. Over a lifespan of hundreds of years, standing under the shade of the monkey pod, you feel like you are sitting in a natural house, with a green dome so large that it embraces the sky. It reminds you that nature can be great not only by its towering height, but also by its open arms, tolerant and connecting all life under its canopy. 9. Banyan, the giant with 1,000 arms embracing the earth. In the tropical forests of India, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, or Southeast Asia, there is a tree that makes anyone who sees it for the first time stunned: the banyan tree, also known as the banyan. Unlike other giant trees that only have a single trunk reaching high, the banyan expands in a special way. From large drooping branches, secondary roots grow long enough to touch the ground, then turn into thanks to this strange mechanism, a banyan tree can form a miniature forest. Its canopy extends thousands of square meters, shading entire villages, markets, and squares. It is said that under the shade of an ancient banyan tree, an entire community can find shelter. In India, the banyan tree is considered the tree of immortality because no one can determine which is the main trunk and which is the secondary trunk. All are linked together in a life cycle that has no beginning and no end. In culture, the banyan tree has a profound meaning. For Hindus, the banyan tree is the abode of the gods, a symbol of protection and longevity. Under the shade of the banyan tree, sages meditate, teach students, and impart knowledge. People hold festivals and worship it, considering it a place connecting the earth and the sky. In Buddhism, the banyan tree is also associated with the image of enlightenment, because Buddha Shakyamuni meditated under the Bodhi tree, a but beyond religion and myth. Banyan is also an ecological home for all species. Birds nest in the foliage, bats hang from the branches, monkeys hop from trunk to trunk. The sweet fig fruit becomes a food source for wild animals, helping to carry seeds far and wide, sowing seeds for generations to come. Standing in front of an ancient banyan tree, you will feel like you are walking in the middle of a natural temple. Hundreds of secondary roots hang down, like giant pillars, building an endless green dome. You no longer know whether you are standing under a tree or have entered a separate world. A world created by nature to remind you that life always has a way of connecting, intertwining, and growing. The banyan tree teaches us a simple yet profound lesson. Strength lies not only in its towering height, but also in its ability to spread, protect, and create community. And perhaps that is also the message that nature wants to send to humans. That we are truly great only when we know how to connect, support, and share. 10. Coast redwood, the tallest giant on the planet. Along the coasts of California and Oregon, where ocean mists drift into deep green valleys, there is a tree that grows so tall it seems to touch the sky. It is the coast redwood, a species of coast redwood, Sequoia sempervirens, can reach. The amazing thing is that these giants can live for more than 2,000 years. During that time, they have witnessed many historical changes. Many generations of people were born and left, but they still stand there, steadfast and silent, like gods guarding the Pacific coast. The existence of the coast redwoods also has enormous ecological significance. The thick canopy absorbs millions of tons of carbon, slowing the pace of climate change. The roots anchor the soil, holding water, nurturing a rich ecosystem of birds, small mammals, ferns, and other plants living in symbiosis. In each redwood forest, people encounter not just one species of tree, but an entire world built from shade. Native Californians have long considered redwoods sacred. In legend, they were considered pillars connecting heaven and earth, and were home to the spirits of ancestors. Today, the remaining redwood forests are national parks, protected as treasures of the land. Standing in front of a coast redwood, you will feel absolute humility. Because while humans are busy building skyscrapers, nature has been building green towers for millennia. And perhaps the greatest lesson that redwood conveys is perseverance. Grow high, but at the same time root deeply to become an immortal part of the earth and sky. 11. Ceiba, the world tree in legend. Among the dense forests of Central and South America stands out a giant tree that is both majestic and sacred. C.E. Yakshay, the pillar. Ceiba trees can grow to over 70 meters tall, with trunks so large that several people would be unable to hug them. The bark is often covered with large, sharp thorns, acting as a natural armor against animals and intruders. The ceiba's canopy spreads out like a giant green canopy, shading the land and providing habitat for birds, monkeys, and insects. The ceiba fruit is special. When ripe, it splits open, revealing a layer of pure white cotton inside, as light as the clouds. The cotton tufts are carried far and wide by the wind, sowing the seeds of life in new lands. The indigenous people use ceiba cotton to make pillows, mattresses, and in many religious ceremonies, they are also considered sacred objects carrying the breath of life. In Mayan culture, the ceiba symbolized immortality and the connection between humans and the universe. They believed that every village needed a ceiba tree at its center, the heart of the community, the place where festivals took place, where sages sat and taught, where people prayed and connected with the supernatural world. But the ceiba is more than just a sacred tree. It is also an ecological pillar, preventing erosion, retaining groundwater, and creating habitat for a diverse ecosystem. Every time the ceiba blooms, the whole forest seems to light up in white. Bees and butterflies bustle. Birds flock, creating. Standing in front of an ancient ceiba tree, you will feel like you are entering a natural temple. The wind blowing through the leaves echoes the whispers of our ancestors, reminding us that we are but a small part of the eternal cycle of the universe. The ceiba, with its majestic stance and immortal soul, is proof that nature not only creates life, but also weaves myths to preserve the memories of humanity.